Hi guys, good afternoon and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie. In today's video I'll be sharing my thoughts and feelings with you guys regarding the second episode we got of the new Star Trek show, Star Trek Lower Decks. They dropped the second episode today on CBS All Access and it was super funny and entertaining, much like the last one. Now before I go on, of course, please be warned that I may be discussing or divulging character details and plot points and spoilers and all that jazz. So if you're not caught up on this show by the second episode, don't keep watching or listening as I will be discussing spoilers, or I might be, so you have been warned. That being said, first and foremost, I gotta say what I love about the show so far is how completely off the walls and unorthodox it is. I don't think you could pull this off on a live action Star Trek show. You know, its energy, its spontaneity, you know, just the overall unorthodox nature of the characters. It would be hard to pull that off in a live action Star Trek show because Star Trek is typically very serious. There are some funny moments, but it's very much kind of like a human drama show, just combined with sci-fi elements and whatnot. But for a Star Trek series to be this silly and funny and unorthodox, in my opinion, is incredibly refreshing feel and take on the series. And I'm really digging this vibe. You know, it's not taking itself too seriously. It's very funny with very likable characters and very silly shenanigans and stories that they're getting themselves into. I love the fact that Mariner was close friends with this Klingon general. I love seeing a Klingon finally appear on the show. I also like seeing animated versions of Andorians, a Ferengi, and then other races as well. That was great. I love the little story that Mariner and Boimler took on, although my heart just broke for Boimler during this story, because it's this episode, because it's like the poor guy is trying his hardest and damnedest to do everything by the book to prove he can be a professional Starfleet officer. And then Mariner's there completely doing the exact opposite of everything, just making light and fun of everything that they encounter and do, and like even with the life or death situation stuff. And the poor guy is trying so hard to do everything by the book, and it's like, God, can this guy catch a break? And then finally he scares off the Ferengi, but then as we see at the end of the episode, it was a setup by Mariner to boost her friend's morale. And she's a good friend for doing that. Kind of sneaky, but a good friend for doing that. So I liked that little bit at the end there. I also loved how the poor cyborg engineer kid was forcing to choose between his friend and a career change, and how he has that line where he's like, well, I'll just go make a career change. And then, wait a minute. But the parts that cracked me up the most during this episode is when the Bajoran tough guy officer who had him fight the Borgs in the Borg simulation. Oh, and we got some answers about that Borg scene because we saw that in the series trailer. It showed that character fighting all those Borg. It was a training simulation in the holodeck. The Borg could still appear in the show at some point, but we got some answers regarding that particular scene. I love how the chief engineer and the Bajoran guy both, at first, both seemed to get really angry and frustrated. He expressed wanting to change his career, but then they immediately changed their personalities and tones, and they're like, you want out? Well, good for you. Go ahead and stick it to your guns. Hey, good for you. Being truthful to yourself and to us. We admire you for that. God, that was funny. This whole episode was just a delight, and I hope we see more episodes like this in the future. But what did you guys think? Did you enjoy it? I want to hear your thoughts and feelings on it. Thank you so much for watching. New episodes of Star Trek Lower Decks drop every Thursday on CBS All Access. Thanks for watching, and of course, until next time, live long and prosper.